Hello, you're watching VNA News Bulletin. I'm Ngọc from Hanoi, and now the headlines as usual. The 12-party Central Committee opened its third meeting in Hanoi. Export of farmed fish fetches $3.1 billion in the first half of 2016. Vietnam welcomes 4.7 million foreign tourists from January to June. The 12-party Central Committee opened its third meeting in Hanoi on July 4th under the chair of Party General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng. The meeting agenda focuses on working regulations of the party's agencies and recommendations on high-ranking state personnel, among others.
In his opening speech, Party General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng said the working regulations of the Party Central Committee, the Politburo, the Secretariat, and the Commission for Inspection should be built on the previous ones and need to be specific, cohesive, and suitable with the reality, ensuring democracy will be promoted further and discipline must be well maintained. He noted that it is necessary to improve the capacity and efficiency in the party's leadership and promote the autonomy, creativity, and responsibility of other organizations in the political system. The leader asked Party Central Committee members to directly give feedback to draft regulations concerning inspection, supervision, and enforcement of the party statute. He underlined the importance of personnel recommendations for state agencies in the 2016-2021 period, describing it as a crucial task. The party chief went on to say that at the 13th National Assembly's 11th section, National Assembly deputies elected and approved the posts of State President, Prime Minister, National Assembly Chairperson, and 34 other leaders of state agencies introduced by the Party Central Committee at its second meeting. At this meeting, these posts will not be revoted, but the remaining 13 posts that have not yet been introduced to the 12-party Central Committee's second plenum will go through a voting before being submitted to the 14th National Assembly for consideration, election, or approval at its first section. The third plenum is scheduled to run till July 8th.
Vietnam is attending the 11th session of the AsiaEurope Peoples Forum that opened in Mongolia's capital city of Ulaanbaatar on July 4th. The event draws nearly 500 delegates from 50 member countries.
The forum's theme is to build new relations and cooperation for equality and social progress between Asian and European countries. Delegates will discuss such topics as climate change, new renewable energy, food security, democratic equality, investment and trade. The Vietnamese delegation will take part in all seminars and dialogues during the forum, which will run until July 7. The AsiaEurope Peoples Forum is an interregional network of progressive civil society organizations across Asia and Europe. For the past 14 years, it has assumed the unique function of fostering people's solidarity across the two regions and has become a vehicle for advancing the people's voice within Asia-Europe relations.
The Gardai Missionary Church organized a ceremony in the center city of Da Nang on July 4th to celebrate its 60th founding anniversary and held its 5th Congress for the 2016 to 2021 term. More in the following report. Speaking at the event, a representative of the Government Committee for Religious Affairs congratulated the Gardai Missionary Church on its religious practice in recent years. The official also called on the church's dignitaries and followers to continue taking part in humanitarian and social activities, thus contributing further to the nation. Established in Da Nang in 1956, the Gardai Missionary Church has operated under the guidelines and goals of Catholicism. During the 2011 to 2016 term, the church has encouraged its followers to actively practice their religion and preserve identities of Catholicism, in parallel with participating in charity activities and joining hands with compatriots nationwide in the cause of national construction and defense. Export of farmed fish brought home nearly $3.1 billion in the first 6 months of the year, a year-on-year surge of 3.8%.
The Vietnam Association of Seafood Exporters and Producers reported China, Japan, the Republic of Korea, and U.S. remains the leading importers of the country's farmed fish. Vietnam's combined agroforestry fishery export turnover was estimated at $15.05 billion in the first 6 months of 2016, up 5.4% from a year ago, the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development said. Of the total figure, farm produce exports were valued at $7.32 billion, a 5.1% increase against the same period last year. Meanwhile, export value of forestry products in the period suffered a slight yearly downturn of 0.1% to $3.33 billion. In June, the agroforestry fishery sector earned an export revenue of $2.5 billion.
The Vietnam Cashew Association has suggested establishing a fund that will make cashew production sustainable. The fund is expected to have strengthened linkages between cashew businesses and farmers.
The association said the fund will raise money from the government, cashew processors and exporters, donors and others. 50 to 70% of the fund will be used for programs to improve cashew fields, research into cashew strains and support farmers. The remaining would be earmarked for research and installment of processing machinery and equipment, improving product quality, hygiene and food safety, and trade promotion both at home and abroad. While exports of many agricultural products faced difficulties, cashew exports increased consistently in terms of both volume and value in the 2013-2015 period. The country earned $2.5 billion from the export of 330,000 tons of nuts and cashew-based products last year, a year-on-year increase of 15% in value and 10% in volume. Vietnam accounts for 50% of the global revenue for cashew exports. Its products are available in more than 80 countries and territories, with the US, EU and China being key markets.
Chi Minh City is targeting to increase the number of enterprises to 500,000 by 2020. The target is stated on a draft plan that was announced recently by the city, one of the country's largest economic hubs.
Ho Chi Minh City said, as part of its efforts to fulfill the goal, it will strive to create a favorable and equal business environment. The city also calls for local businesses' ideas and comments on the draft plan so that its action programs will match the need of enterprises, creating a new motivation for their development. The resolution, issued on May 16 this year, comprises 5 major tasks, reforming the administrative system to create favorable conditions for businesses, making a good environment for startups, ensuring business rights and equal opportunities for access resources and business chances, reducing costs for enterprises and protecting their legitimate rights and interests. The city draft plan also sets a number of targets, including a contribution of 60 or 62% from the private sector to total social investment. The city will speed up measures to form a startup ecosystem and encourage renovation startup while directly and indirectly supporting 2,000 startup and creativity projects through consultation and training activities. Along with strengthening administrative reform, the city will continue developing the e-government system, installing hotlines to all departments and district people's committees, and optimizing the online portal to dialogue with people and businesses.
The index of industrial production of Hanoi in the first half of 2016 rose by 7.7% from the same period last year, with June's figure picking up 8% year-on-year.
Several industries posted growth during the period, including manufacturing and processing, electricity production and distribution, and water supply and wastewater treatment. The three sectors also experienced a respectively increase of 8.4%, 8.7%, and 6.7% in June, while the biggest gain last month, 38%, was recorded by the mining industry. The manufacturing and processing industry saw significant growth in such products as food, pharmaceutical and medicine materials, metal products, and furniture. The index of industrial production of the capital city expanded 7.4% year-on-year during the first 5 months of this year.
Foreign visitors to Vietnam numbered over 4.7 million in the first 6 months of this year, a year-on-year increase of 21.3%.
The number of tourists from the Northeast Asian region skyrocketed in the period, with Hong Kong up 128.3%, China 47.9%, and the Republic of Korea 34%. Holidaymakers from ASEAN, including Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, and Indonesia, still enjoyed a double-digit growth. Especially a surge was seen in the number of visitors from the 5 Western European countries enjoying visa exemption, namely Italy, the UK, Spain, Germany, and France. The local tourism sector served some 32.4 million domestic travelers in the first half of 2016. This year, Vietnam sets a goal of serving 8.5 million foreign tourists. The country is considered one of the fastest-growing tourism markets in Southeast Asia, driven by the entrance of international hoteliers, an improved visa policy, and investment in key infrastructure.
Swan singing, a celebrated art form in Vietnam's northern Midland province of Phu Tho, is expected to be recognized as an intangible cultural heritage of humanity by 2017.
The Provincial Department of Culture, Sports and Tourism said Vietnam's proposal to ask for the new status was approved at the 10th meeting of UNESCO's Intergovernmental Committee for the Safeguarding of Intangible Cultural Heritage in Namibia late last year. A dossier on swan singing was submitted to the committee for considering and recognizing the art genre as an intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Vietnam has asked UNESCO to remove swan singing from the list of cultural heritage in urgent need of protection. Most country members of the Convention for the Safeguarding of the Intangible Cultural Heritage 2003 agreed to support Vietnam in its bid for recognition of the folk singing as an intangible cultural heritage of humanity. UNESCO listed swan singing as part of the world's intangible cultural heritage in need of urgent protection in 2011. 4 years later, Vietnam submitted a report to UNESCO stating that swan singing has seen a revival thanks to the great efforts made by Phu Tho province. However, Vietnam is still awaiting guidance from UNESCO as to how to reclassify swan singing as an intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Swan singing is practiced in front of communal halls at spring festivals. It is said to have appeared about 4,000 years ago, during the time of the legendary Hung Kings. After being listed as the world's intangible cultural heritage in need of urgent protection, Phu Tho made great efforts to preserve and revive the old genre of singing.
And let's wrap up our news bulletin. Thanks for watching and see you next time.